My name is Marina Parr. I'm the Communications Director with the state's Workforce Board. Thanks for selecting Washington Career Bridge for your tutorial. I'm happy to be here and share with you this free tool that's used every day by middle and high school students throughout Washington. If you're at this presentation, you may be familiar with Career Bridge, or perhaps it's the first time you've heard of it. I'd like you to know that it's a free tool. So any school district that wants to use this tool, it's open and ready to go whenever you'd like to use it. Last year, we recorded over 6 million page views. So it's a very popular tool and it's growing more popular all the time. Here's just a quick little look at some of the portions of Career Bridge that we're going to talk about today. We have over 6,500 Washington post-secondary programs on Career Bridge, everything from apprenticeship to short-term career-focused training, to associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees, and even some master's degrees are on the site. It's the full education spectrum in one spot. Below this, you can also see the Where Are You Going career guides. We've produced this multiple times over the past 10, 15 years. This is also a free resource. Right now during COVID, we're not sending out guides currently, but once more schools are back open up, we will be able to send out this guide, which is a print copy. It includes a career quiz and some of the same features that you're going to find on Career Bridge. So let's get started on a Career Bridge tour. Got to go find Career Bridge. Don't worry, it's right around here. There it is. So this is the website we're going to talk about for the next 45 minutes or so. As I said earlier, it is a free tool. You go to www.careerbridge.wa.gov. That's important because it's not a .com. Again, it's a wa.gov website. We launched Career Bridge in 2009 during the height of the Great Recession. And now here we are 10 years later during a pandemic recession. So it's kind of a weird turn of events, but this website has grown bigger and better over the past 10 years. We've tailored it more for K-12 so that you can get more out of it and your students can get more out of it. But without further ado, I think we'll just start our tour right now. A lot of students will start this by looking at careers, exploring careers. We're going to click that first box. And this is where it says, take the quiz, that blue button I'm hovering over. We're going to click on take the quiz. This is where a student will sit and think about what do they like to do. For many students, it's the first time they probably have really thought seriously about what their interests are. So give your students time to explore this area. I'm just going to pick a couple that I like. I like to pick drama and economics. You can see me clicking those. I'm a former journalist, so of course I'm going to pick journalism. If you were ready to take this quiz, there are 16 mini pages. I'm kind of putting my cursor over the top here. So this would be the first page. Again, a pretty simple quiz for most age groups. We're anticipating that anyone from a 6th grader could use this through 12th grade, for example. But in this quiz, it's what do you like to do? And what are your personal qualities? And the student would take this quiz, again, over these 16 mini pages, and they'd get to the quiz results. So right now, again, we just did this very quickly. Our top career cluster shows up as arts, audio, video, technology, and communications. And we're going to click that link. So once the student has really thought about what they like to do, they've taken this quiz, this is where they see their top career cluster. And so our website, the Career Bridge website's broken into 16 career clusters, just like career and technical education does. So the student would look at this and go, okay, what's this career cluster all about? What are the careers in this cluster? And you can see as I scroll down that there are many interrelated occupations that share similar characteristics in this cluster. All of these are live links. We get information from the state's Employment Security Department that shows great labor market information for multiple careers. In this case, we're going to click on audio and video equipment technicians, kind of a mid-level, mid-skill career opportunity. At the top of this page, the job details show you what's this career all about in pretty quick terms. You can see the employment outlook, again, supplied from Employment Security. You can see the average wage. You can see the average earnings per year. So it's close to $50,000 per year average. Then you also see the education available. And this is where Career Bridge is such a great tool because the student has thought about what they like to do. They've taken the quiz. They've seen their top rated cluster. They've focused on an occupation they're interested in. And now they're seeing the labor market information as well as where can they get the education and training to get the job they want. So in this case, we have 2 links under education available in Washington. We're going to click the second link that says Recording Arts Technology Technician. This shows you all of the programs in Washington State that offer this type of program that would enable a person to become an audio or video technician. We're going to click on the first one at the top, Audio Engineering AAS, which stands for Associate's Degree. This program is offered at Spokane Falls Community College. We click the link and suddenly we get more details about this program. I like to think of this as demystifying college for many students. It's their first chance to really see, hey, if I'm interested in doing something, what's my next step? And this shows them the program website. It shows you the program contact. It gives you details about the program in a little paragraph here. It talks about the tuition costs. So how much does it cost to take this program? How long does it take to complete? Looks like 18 months. And also they show entrance requirements. So kind of the first look at this potential education program for students. At the top, you'll see there are 4 tabs. The second tab, we're going to click on School Details. This tells you more about Spokane Falls Community College. It tells you the admissions link, the financial aid, worker retraining, veteran services. There are a variety of ways for students to connect to this college. And again, it's demystifying college for many students. It shows them there are pathways in to connect with people who are interested, hopefully, in helping them move on to their next education step. At the top, you're going to see the third tab is performance results. So on CareerBridge, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, we collect, that's the Workforce Board, we collect 6,500 education programs from throughout the state of Washington. And some of them are registered apprenticeships, some of them are short-term career-focused training programs. We have our 34 community and technical college programs represented on here, as well as bachelor's degree programs from our public and private universities. When we have data available, we push out this data through what we call performance results. In other words, what are the results of a person or students who take a particular program? Let's click this link. So for this program at Spokane Falls, this is for this audio engineering associate's degree. This is a report card, a consumer report card showing the completion rate, the employment rate, the earnings outcomes of recent graduates of this program. CareerBridge also shows you the industries where students went to work. So you can see that retail trade was at 32%, and the rest of the industry areas are shown below there. So that gives you some kind of insight into whether students are actually getting the job that they are training for. It's also showing folks what kind of wages can they expect to earn. This is at a community college, and most folks stick around their local college, so they're not heading over to Seattle necessarily for this audio video engineering occupation that we talked about earlier. So you may remember that first slide where we talked about the average earnings for an audio video technician, close to $50,000. That's probably truer on the west side. But at any rate, this tells you what a student can expect to earn after exiting this program. Our fourth tab at the top is student characteristics. We're going to click on that together, and you can see this is the demographic details of the students who took this program at Spokane Falls. You can see it was heavily male, almost 90% were males taking this program. What was the racial background of folks? What was the age breakdown? This is a community college, and you're going to see more of a spread of ages, but in this case, a lot of young people are taking this program. And then you also see the education level that they entered this program with. So in this case, 2% of the folks already had bachelor's degrees before they embarked on this program. So it's a very helpful way to look at individual programs in Washington State. We don't have all this data for all the programs in our state. We wish we did. But for those that we do push this out through this performance results portion of the website. We're going to keep moving. We're going to go back to the home page by clicking on the map in the corner there. As I mentioned earlier, you can see the Where Are You Going guide featured prominently on our homepage. Again, during normal times, you can quickly order these guides. In some cases, schools will order as many guides as they have ninth graders. For example, sometimes all ninth graders will get a guide, and they will take this home, work with their parents, do some career exploration, take the career quiz. There's all sorts of great information inside this free guide. Again, it's free. It's a request-only publication, so schools and community-based organizations often will write in and we will supply them these guides. But that's something to think about for the future. We're going to go instead now to directly to find education. We're going to click that third box. And you're going to see here, there's lots of ways to search for education on CareerBridge. You can use this, search engine up here if you wanted to just put in occupation. I'm just going to type in an occupation like this. I'm putting in the nurse as an occupation. You can see that students and their families can be more detailed about it. They can put in the zip code. They can put in a particular county or counties. In this case, let's just put in King County. And let's put in Pierce County. So we'll have 2 counties that we're looking at for this education. You can also see we have additional search options, and one of them is looking at programs with performance results. As I did with the previous program, I want to see what's the likely return on investment if I take this program. So I'm going to check that box. For the future, it's helpful to know that CareerBridge, you can also sort by job title. You can see all these different job titles. That's another way to search. You can search by institution. We have all of our colleges and schools located on that list. And you can look by education type. And this shows you apprenticeships, 4-year colleges, community colleges. And so those are another ways to search, but we're doing a more basic search here. We're looking at nurse. We're looking at it in Pierce and King counties, and we're looking at programs that have performance results. And we're going to click search, which is a blue button in the lower right-hand side. Let's see what we get. So we see a variety of programs show up. I want folks to realize that when you look at CareerBridge on the far right side, there's a green check mark that shows whether a program is on the state's eligible training provider list. This is not something that's really that helpful for folks that are counselors and teachers, but is very useful for people who are in our work source centers. So if you were to become unemployed, or if you're to qualify for job training programs, you would need to take a program on our state's eligible training provider list. And this is showing you quickly that this program has met the performance thresholds to be on that list. So it's a category of programs that meet employment outcomes, earnings outcomes, and completion outcomes. We're going to take a look at one of these programs. Let's go ahead and look at, I'm going to take a look at registered nursing at Highline College. Again, we're going to see, as soon as you click on that, you see right away who the contact is, program details, how much does it cost to go through this program, how long does it take to complete. So these are all really good details. Back up at the top, you can see the school details page, and this shows you more about Highline College, their admissions, financial aid, workforce services. So lots of great contacts for students and for counselors to make use of. And we're going to check the box, we're going to click the box for performance results and see, yes, we do have performance results for this program. The completion rate's very high, it's 93%. The median hourly earnings are $34. And the earnings are $65,000 a year. So this is a very good ROI, I would say, for an associate's degree program, registered nursing, right out of the gate. It's 4 quarters after exit. You find out right away that the person's earning $65,000 a year. That's very good. And then you can also see the industries where they went to work. It's clear that they're in healthcare. Healthcare and social services account for 93% of the folks who went into this program. And then let's look at student characteristics. Again, you can see the male-female breakout. It's 78% female, 22% male. You can see the racial background of the folks taking this program at Highline College. You can see the age of the folks. Again, that's quite interesting. It's a community college. It's a very diverse area, and there's certainly a diversity of age groups taking this program. And then what's also pretty outstanding or astounding even is that 14% of those who entered this associate degree program, 14% already had a bachelor's degree. So this is one of the things we talk about at the Workforce Board, the multiple pathways that people take to career success. Sometimes there's I think a misconception that the only way to get there is through a bachelor's degree. But as you can see, many folks already got what we considered, the passport to the middle class, but it didn't work out for them. And they returned to a more career specific training program, which did pay off, obviously. The other thing I think that's important for counselors and teachers to pay attention to are these gender differences, racial background differences. I think there's opportunities in these when you're looking at these programs to go, hey, have you thought about this program? Try to go beyond maybe what the typical student looks like and encourage others to take this program. Right now, it's almost 80% female, for example. So you might encourage male students to think about it. But that's just something to look at when you are looking at student characteristics. We're going to leave that area. We're going to go out to the homepage. Another part of the site that I think is very valuable is just the Explore Careers area. That's where we started when we took our career quiz, but we'll click back on that square. There's all sorts of resources on this page. And so if you're ever in doubt, just go back to the Explore Careers area of the website. We're going to click on Get Career Resources. And this is another really great tool. And I encourage all of you counselors and teachers to make use of this tool. This is the self-sufficiency calculator. It's finding out the real cost of living where you live. We're going to click on that together. And here it is. The self-sufficiency calculator is really, very cool. It tells you what's the cost of housing, transportation, childcare, all the things that mom and dad or guardian pay for. The student is probably very much unaware of what it costs to live. They don't pay a mortgage or the rent. They don't pay for groceries necessarily. So this helps a student understand better what it costs to live all over the state of Washington. This was a tool designed by the University of Washington in conjunction with the Seattle-King County Workforce Development Council. And so whether you're in OMAC or you're in Oak Harbor or another O-town, Olympia, you're going to know what the actual cost of living is. And I think it's very powerful for students who are doing career exploration to understand what the cost of living is. Because if you don't know, then if you're looking at a $25,000 a year job, that might sound pretty good. But if the cost of living is more like $40,000, it's not going to pay the bills. So they should know that from the outset. So we encourage folks to use this very, very powerful tool, the self-sufficiency calculator. You can see on CareerBridge, we also bring together other resources such as how to land the job, how to write a resume. We also have what's called the demand decline list, which is a link to Employment Security's site showing the regional demand for different occupations. I'm going to go back out to Explore Careers, get out of that box there, just to show you guys, because a lot of people who are not in workforce development per se don't even know that there's this demand decline list available. So we're going to click on Get a Regional View of Occupations that are in demand. There we see this list. This is showing the whole state of Washington, what's in demand, so the arrow's going down, staying static, and this one's going up. So medical and health services managers are up statewide. But you're thinking to yourself, well, I live over in a certain area. What's it look like for my area? So we're going to click on the select locations and categories. We're going to click on location. Our state is divided into 12 workforce development areas. And further from there, we also have some county specific information that shows on this website. If, for example, you were interested in Kitsap County, we're going to go down to Kitsap on the Olympic Consortium. Click that. Once we click on that, you're going to see information that pertains to Kitsap County, just as an example. So if you're working with a student and you could show them, oh, construction managers are considered to be in demand in Kitsap County. We're going to click on construction managers and you can see more information. You can see the growth rate and you can see other key pieces of information, including, most importantly for many students, their annual salary of $86,000 a year, average hourly wage of $41 an hour. So that's just something to keep in mind. This is on CareerBridge. It's a link to an Employment Security Department demand decline list. The other thing that many people sometimes forget about, but is a very high wage, high skill pathway, or registered apprenticeships. And we provide that information on CareerBridge. In this category, apprenticeships, earn while you learn. Here's one way to get to that information. We'll click together on Here's How. This is apprenticeships. There's an apprenticeship website that Department of Labor and Industries has put together. Oh, it looks like we need to fix that page. But we also have places on the site that show you how to talk to an L&I apprenticeship coordinator, and then also where to find a program on CareerBridge. So if we just click this Find an Apprenticeship Now link, let's see what we get. This shows you all the registered apprenticeships put out again by the state's Department of Labor and Industries. And it's a great spot for students, again, who may be thinking in terms of, I'd like to, work with my hands. I have some ideas about, getting into the trades. This gives them information, just like the other programs on CareerBridge provide information on how long does the program take to complete. You can see some of these programs are quite long, 4 years, for example, for this machinist program. So there's lots of opportunities that people can take as they explore careers and education opportunities on CareerBridge. I'm going to go back out to the home page. The middle square, which we haven't really looked at much, is called View Job Trends. That's another place for people to look at career information. They can type in something into the search engine. They can look at job titles in this drop-down box. I'm just going to use the drop-down box and let's put in something like aerospace engineers. I know Boeing has had some issues. We know there's been some, let's say, turbulence. Let's not make any jokes about airlines, but definitely turbulence in the marketplace for Boeing for a variety of reasons. But we're going to put aerospace engineers as the job we're looking at, and we're just going to put search and see what comes up. So in this case, it's showing the employment outlook. If you click on the link, aerospace engineers, this is showing a negative growth rate, which is not surprising, but it does show you education available. It shows you the job details, what the folks are doing. There's different education in our state: electrical and electronics engineering and mechanical engineering. I'm going to click the first link. And this again shows you this list of potential programs that a student could take on through looking through CareerBridge. We're going to go back out to the home page. The other area of CareerBridge that I think is quite helpful for students and families is how to pay for school. And that's on the sidebar. So we talked about these three big squares: the Explore Careers square, the View Job Trends, which is finding out about occupations, and then the third square, which is probably our most popular, which is Find Education. Again, 6,500 education programs. And we also should add that we are growing that list all the time. We were recently chatting with Gonzaga, for example, and Seattle Pacific University, and they're adding new programs to the site as we speak. So it's a continually evolving, continually growing website where students can really look at the full education spectrum so they can find something that fits their needs. But going back to how do you afford college? And I think that's on the top of many people's minds. On that sidebar, we have an area called Pay for School. So let's click Pay for School. And this page will link you up to the FAFSA, which again is the really great first step you need to take in finding out how much financial aid you're going to qualify for. So working with students, financial aid now is called for in October. I think it's October 1st is when you can start applying for the FAFSA. So just be aware of that. We also list grants and scholarships. So I'll click that link. And this is a great tool. If you haven't explored the washboard.org, the state's putting together all of the scholarship information that it can in one place. And it's a great place for students to look and see, hey, what are some of the opportunities for me and my family? And then if you look down here, there's some large grants that many of you are aware of or heard of at any rate. The Opportunity Grant, Washington College Grant, which used to be called the State Need Grant, is here. College Bound Scholarship, again, if you were a 7th or 8th grader and qualified, met income qualifications, you may qualify for this one. Washington State Opportunity Scholarship is a great one as well. And also a Career and Technical Scholarship, which is pretty new. If we click on Washington College Grant, you're going to find out more about this. Really great opportunity for many students. It's Washington College Grant is helping Washington make college more affordable, I think, than almost any other state. We're putting in more state money to help students reach their education goals. So check that out and check out these other links, and then maybe direct students to them once you're more familiar with them yourself. Then we also have things about WAFSA, if you have a student who may have a different immigration status, this is a way for them to qualify for financial aid. So this is very important to remember. That link is right there. And then we have Pell Grants and other grants that will help pay for their education experience. We're gonna go back out to the homepage. It's kind of difficult in these presentations because I can't take any questions. It's just a recording. I hope you guys are getting as much out of it as I would like. I do want to take you back to Explore Careers one more time. Again, my favorite square. It's over here on the sidebar. It's also here as a square. We'll just click the sidebar. And again, you're going to see all the resources showing here. Another way to look at careers is through these career clusters we talked about. You can view multiple occupations, and some of you are familiar with them and some of you are not. But this is a way for you to kind of slice and dice this very large world of occupations. You know, when students are asked, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? It's a daunting question, right? How many of us want to answer that question? Even as adults, we're like, wow, I don't know. What do I want to do? I remember running into a teacher one time who said, don't ask students what they want to do, ask them what their career cluster is. And I think that's a really good way to go. Career clusters are broad enough that students can express an interest in them, and still they're not being pinned down to one particular occupation. So if we pick, for example, let's just go ahead and pick business management and administration. And just like that other occupational cluster I showed at the beginning, which was the communications cluster, this business management administration cluster shows you what the cluster is all about. And then these are the various occupations. They're interrelated. Some of the same skills and abilities are called for in all of these different occupations. And because this flows from our state's employment security department, we get some pretty good updates on what's the labor market outlook for these occupations in Washington. So this is we are proudly on CareerBridge Washington centric. We're looking at the state of Washington's education programs, the full education spectrum, and we're looking at the labor market outcomes for the occupations in our state. So we're going to go ahead and click just to kind of refresh your memory. Again, if you're in a career cluster, you can click on an occupation. In this case, we're clicking on accountants and auditors. In some cases on CareerBridge, we actually have a video. So we've been working with the State Department of Labor and others to try to import some of these videos that exist for these different occupations. So that's another way for students to get engaged in a particular occupational area. You can see right away that employment security has flagged this occupation as in demand, which is always a great sign. You can see the growth rate at 2% and openings per year at 4,000. You can also see that the average wage is $76,000 per year, as well as I think I didn't mention this before, but remember, if a student is in this occupational cluster and goes, I'm kind of interested in being an accountant, but I'm also kind of interested in being a cost estimator or an economist. These are some related occupations that generate on CareerBridge. So they can easily take a look at kind of neighboring, closely aligned occupations within that same cluster. There's a lot of education available to become an accountant or auditor, it looks like. We're going to go ahead and click on accounting. And you can see right away, these are the programs that come up that relate to accounting throughout the state, because we didn't put any parameters on it. It's just throughout Washington State. If we were to click on the accounting BA at Washington State University, let's click on that. Again, you see program details, you see the tuition cost, you see how long it takes to complete this program. You also see a link to the WSU Department of Accounting for more information. You could always check in with them. School details about WSU at the Pullman campus. It's showing some of the key areas like admissions and financial aid, people to connect with. Performance results. Yes, this program, we do get the data here at the Workforce Board, so we are able to generate performance results. And I don't think I mentioned this previously, but one of the great things about performance results coming through us is that we have a very highly regarded research team. They do independent third-party evaluations of our state's education programs, meaning this is not information that the schools are supplying. This is not self-reported data. It's not WSU saying this is how well our students did. We get student level records from all of these education institutions, and then we match them with wage records so we can see the actual outcomes for students who recently graduated an education program in our state. So in this case, you can see that 77% completed this program at WSU. You can see that the hourly earning was $22 and the median annual earnings were $45,000. Again, this was immediately after exit. So we're looking at students 4 quarters, basically a year after they exit a program. We can really look at their social security number, look at wage files and see how well they actually performed and where did they land. And you can see down here, this is showing the industries where these WSU accounting students went to work. Coming up, for people that are interested in data, I know that the Workforce Board research staff, we are big time data geeks, but we are super excited to let folks know that coming very soon, the state of Washington will become the third in the nation to collect what's called occupational data. In the 2020 legislative session, we were able to pass a bill. Actually, it was sponsored by Representative Vandana Slaughter, who had been on the Workforce Board's Future of Work Task Force. And the idea was we need to know better about where people are working and what they're actually doing in all parts of our state. Before that, only the state of Alaska and Indiana had collected this information. So this bill did pass in 2020. And next year, employers in Washington will provide job titles as part of the information that they supply to the state. Right now, they supply the person's name, social security number, the hours worked, and the wages earned. But now we're going to know what they actually do. Why is this important to CareerBridge? Well, right now we can show you the industry where people went to work. We can tell you that 31% of the WSU accounting grads were in professional, scientific, and technical services. But we don't really know more than that. We don't know what actual jobs they got. In the near future, you will be able to see whether an education program actually pays off in the occupations that people trained for. So stay tuned. It's not going to happen for maybe a couple more years, but Washington is at the forefront of this, and we are aware of several other states who are connecting with us to try to do the same in their states. Finally, the fourth tab, student characteristics, again, shows the demographics of the students in this WSU accounting program. It's right down the middle, almost between males and females. You can see the racial background of the students taking this program and the age background. Again, this is a pretty traditional college campus, and so it's looking at mostly young folks taking this, but there are some older students as well, because I believe this is through their global, sometimes online program. So that's a good kind of roundup of all the things that you can find on CareerBridge. We also created a career quiz a career video, CareerBridge video, which is at the bottom of the homepage. So this is a great way to do kind of, I forgot what Marina just told me. Don't worry, you can always look at this video and it will refresh your memory. We also have a few changes coming in the near future. We are going to be creating a digital portfolio. I'm going to see if I can show it to you. It should be showing. This is what the new website's going to look like. It's going to be a little bit more youth-friendly, we think. It's got icons instead of photos, for example. And it's going to be a way for students to save their education and career searches into what's called a digital portfolio. This is going to make it easier for counselors such as yourselves to keep track of, have students done that career exploration? Have they taken that career quiz? Have they looked at the education programs? Have they outlined some of their next steps after high school as part of their high school and beyond planning? CareerBridge is going to be so much easier for you to use on a day-to-day basis to ensure that students are taking those next education steps and charting those steps. And you'll be able to see this once you subscribe to the CareerBridge site. We will provide you with tools, again, to use this free website, but it will allow you to better track, is the student making progress the way we want them to? I'm going to click on this to see, show you, these are just some of the same links we have right now on CareerBridge, but it's just going to be a way easier way for folks to do that education and career planning. We haven't rolled it out yet because unfortunately we encountered this pandemic. So we are going to try to work with students maybe remotely to do some usability testing first before we launch this part of CareerBridge. But we just want you to be aware of it because it really will make this career and education exploration so much easier for your students and much, much easier for you as a counselor to track the progress of your students. I'm going to go back to the actual site. This is back to CareerBridge. Finally, I'm going to go one more time back to Explore Careers before we end our session to show you that there are other features on this page that you can spend more time with. If you were here in front of me and I was talking to you more directly, I would encourage all of you to take the career quiz. So go back into CareerBridge at the end of the session, take the quiz, see how you do, see your top rated career cluster, explore some of the occupations just like your students will do. It'll give you a better sense of how to use this tool. And also you'll find out, were you really supposed to be a counselor? I hope the answer is yes. I'm sure you're all supposed to be counselors, so don't worry about that. But just go ahead and take the quiz. And there's other portions of the site that may be interesting to you and your students. The final link here on this page is disabilities, for example. And we just gave a presentation to the state's Rehabilitation Council and had a lot of positive response from those folks. But for example, find programs that help with disabilities. And this will link us to the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. So we just want to make sure that students, no matter their background, no matter their education goals, whether it's going to be a 4-year program or it's going to be a 2-year program, maybe it's an apprenticeship, that all the students in Washington are able to see themselves in some capacity through CareerBridge. And we want this site to be available to all students because it's free and has these performance results. I haven't mentioned some of the other tools that some schools use, but you're well aware of them. Tools such as Naviance or Career Cruising, which are great tools, but can be expensive for school districts. So just be aware that as CareerBridge is modernized, as we launch our digital portfolio, it's going to be even easier for counseling staff, for teachers, for students and families to make informed education decisions that help them achieve their career goals. And so I hope that's been helpful to you. If you ever have any questions, you can always get back to me. The title slide shows my contact information. Again, my name is Marina Parr. I'm the Communications Director at the State's Workforce Board, and we hope that using CareerBridge, your students can find the education and training they need to get the job they want. Thanks.